Yes, there's a TV set on number 5. It's in the front room. And they're watching Columbo.
If you don't have a TV license, it won't take us long to find you.
The TV detector van has always seemed a bit like science fiction. A van with a man who can see through walls, who can drive up a street and find anybody watching television without a licence, and then nab them. They don't do that. Ever since the 1920s, the BBC has depended for its income on the licence fee. If you haven't got one, you can be fined £1,000 and even get yourself a criminal record. This was the first TV detector, driven by a gentleman in tweed. They were called the Mechanical Sherlock Holmes. Then came these alien vehicles in the 1960s, with a birdcage described as the latest in high-tech equipment.
But a lot of people think that this van doesn't work. It's a gimmick to scare them into getting one. But I can assure you that it does.
But many people still refuse to believe the detector vans detect anything. And they're so secret it's been impossible to look inside. But I know a man who bought his own. Van enthusiast Martin Malthus got this for 150 quid and spent 6 years restoring it. Martin, what on earth possessed you?
I've got family history with them because my father used to go out in these vans as a postal officer. You would have a number of addresses to go to that didn't have TV licences. They would pull up outside, detect a television that was working, and then my father would go and knock on the door and ask to see the licence. It could be a bit risky at times, you know, some people were quite nice and generally had licences. Sometimes you had to go out with 2 people, and sometimes you just avoid areas altogether.
Now, while Martin may have restored this beautifully mechanically, the electronics have been dealt with by a different man. Hello, Jeff.
Hi. We've got a very sensitive receiver here with 2 aerials on the roof. Okay? And when you see a signal in the centre there, you know you're looking at a television that's tuned to a particular channel.
But could you really tell what room it's in? Possibly. They photographed the first wave pattern and compared it to another signal.
You put the photograph into the machine and then turn the knob until those graticules line up with the peaks. And then you can determine what range the TV set is from the van.
That's really quite amazing, and Heath Robinson is
definitely.
a wonderful piece of kit.
Yeah.
Well, I have placed a portable television down here on the road, and your challenge is to detect the television.
I accept that challenge. Yep.
Excellent.
Yep.
Martin, wheels roll, let's do it. This experiment is not perfect. The van worked in the days when we watched analogue television signals that have now been turned off. So the old television I've planted won't be getting a picture, but it is switched on and might prove the detector vans could at least spot a television that was working.
Well, there's a peak coming up now. There it is.
Ah yes, there it is. There's a blob. Because look, there's a big yellow box on that driveway. That blob there is that signal over there.
Yep, if you switch that TV set off, that peak will disappear.
So, we may have shed some light on how the old-fashioned vans work, but in this modern digital age, the licensing people are very coy about how they operate. They say detecting a digital television now takes as little as 20 seconds, but they wouldn't tell us how or even talk about it. Do detectors work? Did they work? Reality may be more mundane. All it usually takes is a reminder call or letter. Not as dramatic as having a van full of electronics show up outside your house, but a lot more, shall we say, straightforward.